Tracking's so goofy behind the head. Oh, that's alright. Let's see how the Pico 4 does. Hey, what's going on? It's Anthok. We're going to hop into VR here in a second. We're going to be taking a look at the difference in tracking on the Quest 2 and the Pico 4. We're also going to take a look at the difference in the field of view and just some of the overall feel of the Quest 2 compared to the Pico 4. So let's jump in. I will see you in VR. Alright, here we are in Blade and Sorcery. My webcam is kind of big here on the recording, and I wouldn't normally do that for like gameplay and stuff because the focus is usually on the game. However, we are doing a controller tracking to see how it relates to, the Quest 2 and the Pico 4. How is it tracking my hands? And so I think that's going to be really important for you to see where my hand is and how well it is tracking it. We're going to be going up to a mirror as well so you can see that. I'm actually going to go ahead and move myself up to the corner a little bit more so I'm a little bit more out of the way. But let's go ahead and walk over to the mirror and we will see how that goes. They did actually change Blade and Sorcery since the last time I played it, but I do know the mirror is over here. So here we go. Here I am, and you should be seeing the real life me, and you can see the virtual me. So we're just practice a couple things, or just kind of test out a couple things. This is the Quest 2, and another thing of note, I am using the Quest 2 microphone. So you are hearing everything through the Quest 2 microphone. You'll be hearing the same thing on the Pico 4. So far, when I put my hands down to my sides, it's pretty natural. It's following the flow of my hands as they are. Of course, I can do pretty much anything out in front of me totally fine. If I put my hands straight out to their sides, it's tracking those just fine. And if I go behind my back, there it gets kind of wonky, right? So my hand is definitely not that high up above my head right now. I can bring it forward into the view of the cameras, but if I go back to here, yeah, it's glitching out, right? It's not noticing that I'm moving it up. It's moving it a little bit, but it's not noticing exactly where it is. So the positional tracking cuts off. Ooh, there it is. You can see it snap and actually find it correctly, right? So this is a little off. My hand is actually way higher above my head than it is in game. And when I pull my hand forward, boom, it snaps into the right place. Same thing on the other side, the left side here. Oh, yep, that has cut off tracking. It gets the rotation correct. It's getting the rotation, but not the exact tracking. And when I pull it in front of the camera... Okay, wait, hold on. Let's try that again. Here, it's off tracking. Tracking is totally off. It's getting movement, but not the correct movement. I'm way back behind my head even more than it is. I'm actually directly behind my head. It's not tracking that, but if I pull it forward, boom, it snapped there. There it is. Now, it obviously works fine to grab something like a sword behind your back. Because, boom, you grab it. That's no problem. I can actually do it with the other hand, too, all the way behind my back. Boom, I can grab it. I can put it over there, and I can grab it all the way behind. It's totally fine, because those larger movements, it predicts where you're at, and it kind of knows, even without the camera tracking. But you can see it gets kind of glitchy back behind the head, which isn't something you normally do, but see, look how bad that is right there. This is directly behind my head. I'm going up and down, and my arms are way different in-game. Of course, when I bring them into view, it gets back to being perfect. Back behind me is going to be the same thing. Totally out of the view of the cameras right now. My whole body is blocking that, but you can see that it is doing some sort of rotational movement, but not up and down, left-right movement, not with any level of accuracy. But when I do bring them back into the view of the cameras, they're totally fine. Again, usually you're doing quick movements, you're grabbing something quick from behind your back, or like on your side here, I've got this dagger. You're grabbing that quick. So usually it's not too much of a consideration, but we're going to see how the Pico 4 compares and how different it is. One other thing that I want to do while in Blade and Sorcery, I want to mark a couple points that I can see on the Quest in terms of field of view. How far can I hold my hands, or how far can I see things with the lenses? What's the field of view like? So we're going to check that out now on Quest 2. I'm going to find some sort of marking position. We can see what I can actually view in the headset, and then we'll compare it to what I can view in the Pico 4. So let's go ahead and find a place where we can do that. Not quite sure what's going to be best for us. Maybe if I stand directly in the center of this rug, and I line up my eyes. I'm trying to find something that very easily will line up with my eyes so we can recreate that. Aha, okay. That pillar And the thing is, this might be rendering a little bit different on your video, but that hole right there, and that pillar right there, if I'm looking at that pillar, that's right at the edge of my view, over until the edge of that, right? So if I am standing exactly on the center of this, I can see that pillar over to that edge. So what we're talking about is here, right here, this edge of this hole, and right here, this, like, not really pillar, but wooden piece. Okay, so that's what I can see on Quest 2. We're going to try again after walking away, standing right there, and if I look straight forward, I can get that pillar in view all the way to the edge of that. So that's what we got for our field of view on the Quest 2. Okay, so that's the Quest 2. Super long explanation. I apologize for that. Very long, but we're going to go ahead and check it out similarly on the Pico 4. I will see you once I have the Pico 4 headset back on. Tracking's so goofy behind the head. Oh, that's alright. Let's see how the Pico 4 does. Alright, we are hopping back into Blade and Sorcery here with the Pico 4, and one thing I can tell you already, just from popping this on, here's a couple of immediate things that I noticed. One, the headset, so much lighter, like profoundly lighter, and I am running a few mods on the Quest 2, but without those mods, it makes the Quest 2 so much more front heavy. This is balanced with a weight in the back of it, not a weight, but the battery in the back of it, so much more comfortable. Other thing, clarity, it is so much more clear at a much larger area of the picture. Those are my just immediate things that I noticed. I'll talk more about those, of course, but let's go ahead and do some similar tests what we did on the Quest 2 with the Pico 4. And again, this is the audio coming from the Pico 4 microphone. So let's go ahead and walk over to that mirror. And again, just the things that I'm seeing in focus. On the Quest, it would be like, oh yeah, the fire, it's really nice, it's in focus. But on the Pico, like all the way out to like here, it's in focus. It's so nice in terms of what I'm seeing in focus. So just one other thing to consider, the resolution is higher as well on the Pico 4, so things are really crystal clear. You can see my eyeball there. I can see that very crisp. Okay, let's go ahead and do some of the similar testing here. Hopefully my camera is doing this justice in terms of the physical me, what you're seeing in the real world, and then how it relates to, you know, the in-game world. But here we go. With the Quest, we went up by the back by the head. The Pico 4 does have 4 cameras, just like the Quest does. So let's go ahead and see if I go back behind the head. Oh, let's see. Ooh, looks like we might be losing. Oh no, it's actually doing. Whoa. Holy moly. Okay, there we go. Now it lost tracking. Ooh, it's being kind of goofy. A little more goofy than Quest, but it held on to tracking way longer than the Quest did. Let me try that again. Just going back here behind my head. I'm moving these back and forth. I'm going to go behind my head. Yeah, it's getting a little off there. It's a little off. It seems like it might be a little bit earlier than the Quest 2, but I am able to maintain some accuracy once I get out of the cameras, but yeah, it goes away pretty quickly just like the Quest does. So let's try again. We'll go back here. If I'm behind the head, I mean, that's pretty good. It was moving up and down. Now it's completely lost it. And it does do the same thing, the rotational kind of movements, little movements and stuff. It'll do that out of the realm of the cameras. But in terms of like up, down, and left, right movement, it is not doing that at all. But the rotational stuff, it does. There goes. Okay, so then it snaps. That never happened with Quest. That never happened. It never launched my hand anywhere when it didn't know where it was. But again, doing the quick things you need to do. Half-Life Alyx, throwing something in your back. Blade and Sorcery, wham, pulling out a sword. That's totally fine. Oh, is it totally fine? I can't do... Oh, there we go. Okay, I did. It might just take a second to learn. I was going to say I can't do the full across the back, but I can. I'm totally fine there doing that. It's a little different of a movement for me to get the sword. If you notice, it's on the wrong shoulder. I take my left hand and I go whoom over the back. I'm going to say it was easier to do on Quest 2. I can do it on Pico 4, but it's not as nice. Now, why would I want to go all the way over to the opposite shoulder? Well, it's just a tracking demo to see if I can do it, right? Getting it right over your shoulder, absolutely no problem. I can do that with... I'm confident to say 100% accuracy, right? I can go over the same shoulder and I can get that no problem. 100% accuracy. I'm able to do that. But the opposite shoulder, ooh, man, it is not as good as Quest 2. However, Quest 2 is backed by, I think, more finances than the Pico 4 is. So, you know, you might expect a little better tracking in that regard. Let's go ahead and see how it is behind the back here. If I go behind the back, yeah, we're getting pretty similar rotational tracking. It is doing some up-down, though. Look at that. It's doing some up-down tracking that the Quest 2 was not. It's getting some accuracy there, but when I bring it back in view, it's totally fine. Again, anything out front, anything out to the sides, I can do just fine. It's totally tracking my hands perfectly fine out here in the front. It's just when you get out of the view of the cameras, it's interesting to see. I don't think it's drastically different from Quest, just from my quick use here. I have played quite a bit of Half-Life Alyx with the Pico 4. Never ran into an issue with tracking while actually playing the game, but it is interesting to see. It does seem to cut off a little earlier than Quest. I can't quite go as far back, and it is a little harder to do some things. But actual gameplay stuff, I don't know if it's really going to matter, but it is worth noting that it is not the same. It's not the same. The Quest seems to be a little better with that predictive tracking. But here I can go back behind my back pretty accurately. It does, ooh, yeah, see, it goes kind of crazy there. But then you get back in, it snaps right there. So I think that might be worth noting. If you want to see something more specific, let me know. But that's kind of what I plan to do with this, just kind of show that. All right, now the field of view test. I'm actually really interested to see how much more field of view I'm able to get from standing in the same location. Let's go back to where we were with the Quest and see how the field of view compares. Oh, I launched it. There we go. All right, let's see how it compares. I'm going to go ahead and stand right here, exactly where I was with Quest 2, and then look forward. I'm going to get this edge in the edge of my view. That is exactly where this edge over here is at the edge of my left eye. I can see all the way. This is where I can see on Quest 2, right? Right to there. I can see all the way. I can see the edge of that map. I can see all the way, pretty much the edge of this map. It's not quite. It's like here. It's like the map, not the border. Let me go back, try it again. After moving from the spot, we'll try again. Now let's see if I put this right at the edge of my view, my left eye. It's more like the middle of the map. There we go. It's like here. So it's not quite the edge of the map. It's like here. It's like here. But think about that. Look at how much more field of view you have at that distance. I know field of view is different all the time, but it's like right about here. I'm seeing that much wider. I'm seeing that much more stuff with the field of view on the Pico. All the way over there. It's like from there to there, I'm seeing more. I don't know if that's coming across very well in the recording, but being cut off here versus being cut off here, that field of view is pretty drastic. Oh my gosh, my hand just scared me. You know what I should have done in the Quest is a vertical field of view as well, because I do believe the vertical on the Pico 4 is like significantly better, because the vertical, like the up-down view is a lot more. Like if I look at the rug here, the rug is at the bottom of my view. You can see up to the floorboards. I don't know that I noticed it as much as the wideness, but maybe the two kind of join together just to see that difference. But yeah, there you go. There is the overall difference in terms of tracking with Quest 2 versus Pico 4. I think I'm actually going to make this its own video, tracking Quest 2, tracking versus Pico 4, because this is much longer than anticipated. And then I'll do my other general information about like the Quest 2, Pico 4 in a different video, and I'll probably pull little clips of this. But yeah, let me know if there's something else you want to see with the Pico 4, especially in comparison to the Quest 2. They're really the only two headsets that I'm going to bother working with right now. I sold my Index, I sold my Vive, I had an original Vive, I sold, well, I still have Quest 1s, but they're not really worth talking about right now. And I used to have like a PlayStation VR and stuff, but I basically only have Pico 4 and Quest 2 right now. That's all I really care about. So if you are interested in any questions specifically on those two headsets, just let me know and I will try to make a video on it. But so far, I am loving the Pico 4. It is excellent. My only gripe with it, my only one thing, battery life is not as good as the Quest 2. I'll tell you that. The battery life is not as good. With either of them, you're really going to need to put a battery on the back of it if you're planning on doing any sort of reasonable length of gameplay. You're going to be putting a battery pack on the back of a Quest. You'll put a battery pack on the back of the Pico as well. And you're going to be doing a battery either way. I was able to do about 4 hours the other day with the Pico and a battery pack. So it was really fine once you use a battery pack. Similarly with the Quest, I've done 4 or 5 hours before with a battery pack, and you know, you use a battery pack. But the headset on its own is a little disappointing battery life-wise. I would love to see if they had some sort of thing that I could attach to make it like a really seamless design with the Pico 4, but as it is, I just use, you know, a regular battery pack you'd use for your phone, and it works fine. Use some Velcro, strap it on there, totally fine. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Again, please let me know what you think. Let me know what you want to see next, and if there's any other specific questions you have, Pico 4 versus Quest 2. And if you're interested, subscribe and like the video. But if you're not, that's okay too. Have a good day. I wonder if I can stick this in the wall. Well, I guess it'd have to be a wooden wall, wouldn't it? Oh yeah, that's sweet. Goodbye. See you later.